Hi, my name's Rob. I am the course leader on the Creative Digital Media Production course here at Huddersfield New College. This taster session is a bit of a chance for me to show you some of the things that we do. Obviously we cover quite a lot on the course. We cover things like advertising, music videos, documentaries and film production, and that's quite expansive, so we can't really cover that in the short amount of time we have. But they all have one similarity, and that is cinematography, or the use of camera. So this taster session is a chance for me to talk to you about some of the key sort of principles and rules and how we do that and how we sort of like set these kind of shots up. And we're going to talk a bit today about the shot reverse shot, the eye line matching and the 180-degree rule. And we're going to do it by demonstrating that with some students. So these 2 points, the shot reverse shot and the eye line matching, they work because of a thing we call the 180-degree rule. So I'm going to explain that visually with some students. So Grace, if you'd like to come and stand here. So we have here this morning, we have Sam and we have Grace. Now when we have a scene where we have either talking, interacting in some way, we tend to have a shot reverse shot that only works because of this 180-degree rule. So we have an imaginary line drawn between our 2 students, and Luke, our camera operator, is going to set the camera up pointing at Grace. So the first thing we're looking at is the idea of the shot. So if we look here, we have our shot of Grace. Now as you can see, the shot itself leaves a lot of space at this side because Grace is looking over towards that side of the frame. Now, the 180-degree rule means that when Luke decides to film Sam, he's going to move the camera, but he's not going to cross that line. So if you want to move the camera, Luke, to frame Sam. So now we have our other shot. So this is the reverse shot of Sam. You'll notice Sam's not wearing his jacket. Never mind. So we have shot, reverse shot. So if we look at that again, because we don't cross the line, Grace is looking over to that way, and then when we would cut to Sam, he's looking this way. And this creates what we call our eye line matching. So here we have Grace, she's looking over that way, and when we cut to Sam, Sam is looking the other way. Now the beauty of this is that our brains assume that Grace is looking at Sam, and Sam is looking at Grace. But we could film these in 2 different times, on different days in different locations, still cut them together, and they would still look like they're looking at each other. And that is because we are obeying the 180-degree rule. Now, we can break that rule, and if we break that rule, so if we take this shot, so look, if you just point the camera at Grace. So this time, Luke's going to create the same shot with Grace, but now, when he decides to shoot Sam, he's going to break, quote unquote, the rule and cross the line. And what happens here is now we have our original shot of Grace looking at Sam, but when we cut to Sam now, Sam is looking in exactly the same direction because we've crossed that 180-degree line. And that means that now we have to ask ourselves, well, Grace is looking over there at something, and now Sam's looking over there at something. So they are no longer communicating to each other. Whereas before, eye line matching, not crossing the line, they're looking at each other. But when we break that rule, we can see that Grace is looking over one way and so is Sam. And so therefore, our brains tell us these guys aren't talking to each other, they're not interacting, even though we can see physically in the space that they are looking at each other. Now there is a way that you can break the rule of the 180-degree rule, and Luke's going to demonstrate this now. He doesn't know he's going to do this. So grab the camera a second, Luke, and I want you to stand behind Sam, pointing the camera at Grace. Sam, if you move forward ever so slightly so Luke can walk behind you. Now what Luke is going to do, he's going to pick the camera up, filming Grace, and he's going to move the camera behind and then place it there. Now in that process, what Luke is doing with the camera is he's telling the audience, I am physically crossing the line, but I'm taking you with me. And what that means is we are able to orient ourselves when it comes to the space. And we could then break the rule a bit more because Luke has communicated in one shot that we've moved and crossed that line. Now this technique is a fundamental principle of all of those different projects that you might do on this course if we jump back to these things. So anytime you're creating an advert, a music video, anytime you're creating a film or even a documentary, these 3 principles are the driving force to make it seem like it makes sense to everyone. But of course you can break these rules, but there is a key idea that you need to understand them first. Okay, well that is it. That's a sort of a very brief taster of some of the fundamental skills and techniques that we do here on the Creative Digital Media course. So thank you ever so much.